All right, I want to welcome on my next guest. We got Chris Williamson, anchor and reporter at SNY New York. Chris, how's everything going? World's a crazy place right now.
It is, man. You got the coronavirus. You got, second civil rights movement going on. There's just a lot of social unrest and a lot of anxiety, from folks around the country.
Yeah. Do you think they're taking it seriously in Washington, or do you think they've been sitting on it for much longer than people want? I feel like any change needs to happen. I know it's not going to be something that's going to happen immediately, but I haven't seen anything. Nothing start up.
Yeah, I mean, they've cut funding in different places, for testing, helping different states. They are pulling out of the WHO, the World Health Organization, effective in 2021. And they're all worried about the economy. So to answer your question, no, they're not serious about it. They're about their economy and making money, because there are so many billionaires who have made money during this time while you have so many people disenfranchised, so many people losing their job. It's pretty sick, but that's the world of capitalism.
Yeah, the one that really got to me yesterday was all this stuff about education, about how they want to reopen all the schools, and how apparently with all the funding they got from the stimulus, they diverted it all to private and charter schools. And I'm like, that's not what it's for. Okay, That's not what it's for. And then you have the person who's the Secretary of Education, who has no education background, no teaching background, kind of got the job. I don't know why. Maybe because I think her husband's related to the guy, or the husband's the guy that owns Orlando Magic, because that's a great prerequisite for running the country's education system. And kids went to private school, never even went to a public university, and she's diverting all the funds and telling all the kids, hey, we want you back at school. It's not going to happen. Sorry, it's not going to happen.
It's not. They think they have this control over these states. I think Governor Cuomo said, yeah, we're not going to adhere to the federal guidelines or whatever. Like, we are going to make a decision that's in the best interest of, the students and the teachers. But man, that's the thing about that's the thing about the people Trump, the individual in office, has put in place, like Secretary of Education, Secretary of HUD. Those are people who are not qualified.
What is Ben Carson doing at HUD? This dude was separating Siamese twins.
Exactly. He has no business being in that role. He doesn't even know the terminology for the housing system. It's just a total mess.
No, I could go off on this stuff all day. The guy who's in charge of Health and Human Services said yesterday that frontline workers can't get the virus. Okay. Yeah, and I'm sure that's real, except 75,000 of them have, and 850 of them died, but I'm sure your statistics are accurate. But so flip it over to sports. So Sports are coming back soon.
Yeah.
Should they be?
Should they be? No, they should not. Because there are too many risks involved in playing sports, where you have, for football especially, you have 11 guys going up against 11 guys on the field. You have 53 players, on the roster, and you're banging up against each other, each play, being physical. And you're going to tell me that people are not going to contract the virus through that? And then as far as social distancing goes in the locker room, they want to have 6 feet. They want the lockers to be 6 feet apart. It's not sensible. And so, I don't think they should be at all. If you really care about the athletes, you really care about the coaches, you would not have a season, and you would accept and take the loss, the sacrifice of millions and billions of dollars, because you are a $1 billion revenue company, or organization, I should say. Each year you make billions. So it's not as if you're going to be bankrupt or your cash flow is going to be severely low.
It's one bad year.
Right.
One bad year. No, yeah. And then you played football at Syracuse, right? When in the locker room, how close were you to your teammate?
We were like, so, okay, let's say this is my locker right here.
Yeah.
And then there'll be somebody's locker, like,
not 6 feet.
Right, not 6 feet at all. No.
And then NBA, it's football. I think they're trying to worry about football when it starts. It's going to be a big issue. They're saying, we're just going to keep the schedule's not going to happen as is. It's not going to happen. I think the only way they can do it They need to have a more secure hub than the NBA is doing, because the fact that the Disney employees can come and go at will doesn't make any sense. They're spending $1.5 million per day to book everything. They should have booked a 4th hotel for Disney employees. Said,
Right.
hey, we'll give you guys, I don't know, double your normal pay. You want to stay around? You can have all the same amenities, the players, do that kind of stuff, and make it more safe. Football, they're going to say, okay, we have 32 teams going around the country every week. That's not happening. It's not going to happen. The only way they can do it is that they have 2 hubs, AFC, NFC, and they secure them. And they have everybody in them is staying in them, and nobody's coming and going, and positive cases, you got to get them out of there. But if a team could, I saw it the other day, Phillip Rivers was talking at an NFL Players Association meeting. He said, what happens if somebody gets coronavirus before the Super Bowl? And they said they don't play. And I'm like, you can't have this.
Right. You can't, because what, Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, if they contract it, you're telling me they're not going to play. Like, I don't, for one, I don't think they would release that test, to protect their star.
No.
And 2, that's just going to dramatically, all of this is going to reduce the quality of the product.
Yep.
Because you're going to have star players who get it, and then you're going to have the 2nd tier and 3rd tier players who end up, having to suit up and play. So it's a really sad reality about the priorities of these businesses, but I can't really be surprised.
No, and then baseball's trying to come back in 2 weeks, and the testing is non-existent. The Nats, all these, I came into contact with my upcoming roommate. He told me about last Wednesday that he got it. So I went and got tested as precaution. I feel fine. I still haven't heard back. It's been
Last Wednesday.
No, I got it last Thursday. Today is Wednesday.
Right.
I still haven't gotten it. I'm like, what's the issue here?
Jeez.
So yeah, it's insane. And that's the same issue that's gonna be going with these older, like, I'm not at risk, but some of these older coaches might be. Like, what's his name? Mike D'Antoni is close to 70.
Greg Popovich,
Alvin Gentry. It's an issue. I think the NBA has the testing kind of more down than the other teams, but I saw even with the TBT is going on right now. I think it's great. They secluded the guys. They're all in Columbus. When they're out there, as soon as the team's eliminated, they're out. They're testing them weeks and weeks and weeks in advance. They test them when they get there, back to back days testing, and still somebody got it. I don't get it. It's crazy. It's insane.
No, because this virus is so there's so many unknowns to this virus. A lot of speculation as far as the transmission. Like, we know a certain amount, but there's still so much that we need to investigate in order to get to the bottom of how this virus works. So yeah, man. Like, if the MLB, like, I know you saw the MLB, they took a long time to get tests back with the Nationals and then the Mets as well. Still didn't get their test backs after 48 hours or whatnot. It's unacceptable.
Yeah,
unacceptable.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And then, like, see, I think they're all thinking, okay, these guys are in great shape. If they get it, they'll be fine in 2 weeks and they can play again. Von Miller's still having effects.
Yeah.
Rudy Gobert's still having effects, and Freddie Freeman's sick in bed. They're probably in better shape than 99% of the U.S. population. This is affecting them. It's affecting everybody. So I think they're saying, okay, 2 weeks will be fine. What happens if a player gets on a ventilator? The season, the shutdown is done. Lawsuits are starting. This is not happening. And they're saying, oh, fans can sign a waiver. No fans are going to games. I'm sorry. The Ravens just said they're going to let 14,000 fans into the stadium. That's not happening.
No.
Not happening. It's not going to happen. So if it's hypothetical. Say the NBA season goes without a hitch. Everything goes fine. We crown a champion. How are you seeing the season turning out?
Right, which won't happen. But let's live in fantasy world. I think, honestly, well, okay, if everything goes smoothly and you don't have star players getting the virus like LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, Giannis Antetokounmpo, James Harden, I honestly think it'll come down to the Lakers, and I'm gonna give the edge. I'm gonna give the edge to the Bucks, right? As far as getting into the NBA Finals, I think they'll be able to take down Toronto. Or the
Boston doesn't got it. Boston's not.
What's that?
Doesn't have it.
Yeah, no, Boston now. Thinking about Sixers. Nah, they still think
Sixers only play well at home, and they're playing in Florida. So if they win one game, it's a blessing. So yeah, it's wild. All these guys, even with the Nets, even like I think a lot of guys are saying that they're making up excuses not to go, and I think it's justified. Like Bradley Beal said, "Oh my, I've got a lingering shoulder injury." If he was the real playoffs, he'd play. If it's these BS playoffs where they're not going to make it to the playoffs or they get blasted in the first round, there's no reason to go. There's no reason to go. It's no work. I do the same thing. And I think a lot of these guys like Victor Oladipo's opting out. The one that really caught my attention is Caleb Swanigan's out, which is by far like throws off the entire tournament. Like out of everybody's going to be
Oh yeah.
Come on, man. He's killing it for Purdue. I couldn't even tell you what team he's on. But I think he was drafted by Portland. But no, like it was like Swanigan's out. I'm like, all right, scrap the whole thing.
Yeah, shut it down.
We're done.
Shut it down.
And then for baseball, I don't know how this is going to work because they're traveling, which is crazy. How do you Yankees are facing off with the Nats a couple weeks, hopefully. How do you see that season going?
As far as the possibility that we'll last through a whole season,
the whole. I'm hoping. I wish they would have brought I don't know. I think if they got like a football island or a baseball island like Dana White's got for UFC, maybe it could work because you block everybody off. I don't know, but we'll see how it goes. I'm glad that I give them credit for retrying. I think it takes a lot of effort to kind of get back going. But once it's scrapped, the season's done. You're not trying again.
No, you can't, especially because they don't want to go into October, because they want the playoffs to start in October. So they don't want to be going into November or whatnot, for the playoffs. They don't want the season to carry over into October. I think, to me, I'd say the Yankees would be my choice to win it all, just especially after everything they've been through last year, with the Astros. I think Nationals are a legitimate contender, even though they lost some pieces. But I love the fact, what the Yankees did with Garrett Cole. I know they're out with or Domingo Germán he's got a service suspension.
And the other guy got hurt the other day. The pitcher.
Masahiro Tanaka. Yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised they even had a live simulated game that early on. Because I was like, why don't they have a screen of a batting, or what is it? I forget what it's called, but I don't understand why
they to block it. The little thing on the side.
Yeah. Right. So
no, it's wild. It's wild. I think hockey could work because hockey is all kind of they're doing it in Canada and then they're doing it in I think they're both in Canada. I don't know what they're doing. I know one was in Edmonton. If you gave me $500, if you offered me $500 to find Edmonton on a map, you'd be keeping that $500 because I couldn't tell you what. That's how you know a real hockey fan from a fake hockey fan. They can tell you, they can point out, you give them a blank map and they can pick out the cities for where the geographic locations for all the Canadian cities. That's a real hockey fan.
Yeah, and they know the towns and everything. They know the suburbs, not just the cities. They can tell you all the intricacies of Canadian culture.
They know the metro lines. That's how you know too. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, you got to get off on B Street." No, but but it's wild. And then I got one last question for you. What's been the most enjoyable thing you've done over this quarantine situation? What's something that you think you didn't enjoy, but you're glad you were spent time doing it?
What's the one thing I've enjoyed the most? Shoot, probably. I'd say probably figuring out what I need to do in order to self-sustain myself, should, something drastic happen with my job, where I'm laid off or whatnot, because these are really unprecedented times and, you cannot rely on the employer the whole time. And so you got to be proactive. Yep. You need to stay ready instead of reacting when, stuff hits the fan. Mm-hmm. So that would be my most enjoyable part, is that journey, and it's still ongoing. Yeah. That journey has really given me a lot of, happiness and joy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just being proactive just helps, and just anybody can take advantage of it. Everybody just being ready for anything that comes. Even 2020 has been wild. We've been seeing from COVID to murder hornets. I don't know where the murder hornets is. I think they're hiding, but it's just wild. And they got these snakes. I don't know if you saw. I saw something on CNN that snakes can fly from trees. Now I'm like, all right, I'm done with this.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
No, we're good with that.
At that point, you just log off.
I'm done. This is too much internet for the day. I'm done. But this has been a lot of fun, man. So for people that don't follow you, how can they find you on social media?
Yeah, so they can follow me on Twitter at cwilliamson44, and then on Instagram they can follow me at cwilliamsontv9. Those are my Instagram and Twitter handles. So that's where you can get all my takes and perspectives about sports and other matters.
Hey, all right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time, man. Hopefully, fingers crossed, the season's finished out. Everybody stays safe. We can have sports. There's a lot of uncertainty. So you never know.
Hey, that's the name of it. That is the word to describe 2020, uncertainty.
Yeah, that's putting it nicely.
So, right.
Yeah. No, it's wild. It's wild. I can't wait until I was thinking about it last night when I saw the Troy. Do you see the thing with Troy Daniels with his little dinner? It looks it looks like he got it from Hudson News.
Somebody said it looked like he got it from JetBlue or Airplane Food.
Apparently, like the food gets better. They said it's just like with like the quarantine food because I think the guys had to be in the quarantine for a couple of days. LeBron's not eating that. So.
I don't know. He's got his own private chef.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Nah.
He's got Uber Eats Deluxe, the whole 9 yards over there.
Nah, he's having that to flight, and they got drones dropping that shit at the top of the hotel. No, but I'm like, I'm seeing that, and I'm like, when they do the 30 for 30 for the 2020 NBA season, it's gonna make people completely forget about the last dance.
Right? Yeah. That okay. I wouldn't expect you to go there. I wasn't sure.
I'm saying, think about it. It's everything, just everything. I can't imagine it's gonna be. They're not gonna do it soon. They're gonna kind of make it until people sort of like it's not the most recent thing. Right. And then they're just gonna hit you, and then nobody's stop talking about it. People are gonna be like, "Oh, you remember what happened in 2020?" It's gonna be insane. It's gonna be absolutely crazy. It's wild.
Nah, it's gonna be something to watch. You know, when that comes out.
Yeah, no, because the thing is, like, somebody's crazy things happened last year. We already forgot about them. All the stuff with the Lakers, all the stuff with it's crazy stuff. Yeah, but this has been a lot of fun, man. Appreciate you taking time to chat. Hopefully, we get into some sports, and hopefully they can sustain.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. We'll keep the fight up and stay safe.
Appreciate it. I'm hoping to get this test back soon because this is the only test in my life I've been like, I want to fail it. And apparently it's harder to get results for this than the ACT. So it's very interesting. So yeah, but I appreciate it, man. Thanks again.